तो चलिए दोबारा से रुक करेंगे वित्त मंत्री की प्रेस कॉन्फ्रेंस का।
Given for mergers and acquisition, some of which I'll explain further, modifications and provisions for differential voting rights, about which I'm very grateful to the media. A lot of you all have written about it, as to how that will bring in a certain sense of ownership for the people who founded the companies, and that will give them the right to retain their control of their own companies. Withdrawal of over 1,400 prosecutions under Companies Act. Again, a point where I want media, I'm very grateful that you've been writing about it. We are inclined to move from the prosecution route to more humane approach. Repeatedly examples before you to prove that, and therefore I would want to request companies and also media to see that the intention of this government at no point wants to pursue anything in the name of prosecution. Here are the examples concrete, which is not happening today, but over the last few weeks, we can very clearly tell you that that's the kind of step that we've taken. The IBC framework, all of you are very familiar. Even as the budget session was going on, even as all of us were focusing on budget-related matters, because of the way in which certain interpretations were given by some authorities and tribunals, we had to go through very quickly amending the IBC just so that no anomalies existed, and that has, as much as possible, we can get information that has benefited the MSMEs and home buyers. We shall ensure that we keep going in that route. So with this backdrop, I now go over to my first silo, which relates to respecting and honoring wealth creators. CSR violations, about which all of us have been hearing, not to be treated as criminal offense and would instead be a civil liability. Ministry of Corporate Affairs will review the sections under Companies Act. Government has provided companies through revised orders time for completing ongoing projects towards fulfilling their CSR obligations. So every doubt that was prevailing outside, I would want to dispel it today, that there is no intention of the government to go on the prosecution route. CSR will only be treated as a civil matter and not at all as a criminal matter. The second point there in my first silo is issue of IT orders, notices, summons, letters, etc., shall now go through a centralized system. What does that actually mean? It means on or after 1st October 2019, all notices, summons, orders, etc. by the income tax authorities shall be issued through a centralized computer system, and it will contain computer-generated unique documentation identification number. Some of you all have already started writing about it, great sense of what is coming. But what actually it means is, if there is a notice being issued at the ground level and some amount is being claimed on an SSC, that without a central approval cannot happen, and also the amount stated there will eventually either be resolved or resolved in favor of the authorities, and therefore the tax will be paid or the claim will be settled, but the amount shall be what was claimed and not more or less. And this will be available for the assessor himself to see it so that he knows what he is being asked. If necessary, he can even quote that and complain so that there are no anomalies in paper and actual practice. So this is one way in which we think the harassment angle can be addressed in favor of the assessee. The second, any communication issued without computer-generated unique document identification number, the DIN number, that shall be treated non-est. In other words, if anybody has issued from his own level at the ground level, that notice shall not be treated. Actually, the assessee can put it aside and say, I've not received any note, nobody is going to follow him up. Unless the notice goes through the central clearance, and unless the notice has a DIN number, the document identification number, it need not be taken seriously by any assessee at all. So let's make that very clear. And all old notices, the question naturally arises, you've announced this, what happens to those which were given earlier? All old notices to be decided by 1st October 2019 or uploaded again through the system. So all the notices which have been issued till now will be cleared before October 1st, 2019, within 1.5 months from now. And if in case some of them will have to be treated again, they'll be uploaded again, and only then will it become a valid document for action. So assessees can be very clear, it is now a transparent process. No one authority, no one officer will be doing it independently on his own. And then from 1st October 2019, all notices to be disposed of. This is very important. Things are not going to keep hanging fire. All notices to be disposed of within 3 months from the date of reply. Let's be clear, no assessee will have anything to do with any notice after 3 months once he's given a reply. So that's on the first silo of respecting and honoring our wealth creators. We shall go through a very transparent process. The next one is on the taxation measures that we are coming up with. The much awaited, yes, please, relief from enhanced surcharge on long-term and short-term capital gains. In order to encourage investment in the capital market, it has been decided to withdraw the enhanced surcharge levied by the Finance No. 2 Act of 2019, the recent budget time, on long and short-term capital gains arising from transfer of equity or shares and units referred in Section 11A and 111A and 112A respectively. In other words, the enhanced surcharge on FPI goes. In simple words. In other words, the pre-budget position is restored. Surcharge on domestic investors too in the equity market goes. Pre-budget position is restored. So, can we go to the next? Or do you want to you don't want to hear anything more? No, we are going on the others also. Okay, now, I am using an expression which is used commonly, but it's not something part of the ministry. Things about angel tax provisions. That's not an official expression for the tax that we are referring to, but never mind, all of us understand what angel tax refers to. So to mitigate genuine difficulties of startups and their investors, it has been decided that Section 56(2)(b) of the Income Tax Act shall not be applicable to a startup registered with DPIIT. So the section which is invoked and through which startups had difficulties. But that section is important for the income tax for many other reasons, so the section continues, but that section shall not be applicable to registered startups. All right, now this is done, but after this, if there's a difficulty, it has also been decided to set up a dedicated cell under a member of the CBDT. The CBDT chairman is here, present in the audience. A member of the CBDT will head a cell under him for addressing the problems of startups. A startup having any income tax issue can approach the cell for quick resolution of the problems. So that way, we have made it clear that it shall not apply to startups who are registered with the Department of Industry and Internal Trade. Not only that, but further, there will be a member who will be handling it from the CBDT. We move to the next, which is my third silo, which relates to measures that we are coming up with for the banks, for NBFCs, and for MSMEs. Additional credit expansion through public sector banks. This is something which we did announce during the budget session. Upfront, we are releasing the 70,000 crores. Upfront, we are releasing the 70,000 crores and additional lending and liquidity to the tune of 5 lakh crores can be made available by providing this upfront capital for the PSBs. This was announced in the budget. We are doing it upfront now. And this will, we are very clear that this will benefit all the corporates, retail borrowers, MSMEs, and small